I think right now is up to Adam Silver, the Board of Governors. You have to meet now and to understand. And I know Adam has been ahead on a lot of these things going on. But like you said, the question is, are we adding more to the roster? Are we postponing the season? I don't think we have time to get in a bubble. But what's next for the safety of the players? And I think that's what's going to be truly talked about within the next 48 hours.
GA, what do you think the solution is?
I don't think there is a solution per se, Jared and Smitty. I think the reality is that this is to be expected. I think that the league, I think the governors, I think the commissioner, they all kind of assumed that we would have some of these scenarios play out. I think also we got to remember now we do actually have a vaccine, and will that somehow work its way into this formula for the league? I mean, obviously priorities are given to first responders and the at-risk helpers and then obviously the seniors. But then you wonder if that somehow plays a role in all of this. But I just think this is how the league's going to be. There's no way you can logistically do a bubble for a regular season. That just, I don't think is even remotely plausible. And I think we got to figure out a way to weather the storm. I thought Ira made some great points. I do think that roster expansion, I know, Jared, you talked about it, you're adding more bodies into it. But ultimately, I think that is a very real possibility moving forward. Because ultimately you also want to try to have some of these games played. And granted, no one wants to have a game played with 8 guys, because the other issue there is you also increase the chance of risk of injury.
Right.
You're playing guys who generally aren't going to be playing extended minutes. Now they are. And everyone knows when you're a little more fatigued is when it's more likely that you're going to get injured. So, listen, it sucks right now to have this going on. But I think we got to be patient. And I think one thing we've learned as a society over the last, 10 months is to be patient.
Ira, take us through this. Very confusing. We had assumed if this game was going to be postponed, it would be because the Celtics didn't have enough players. What happened to get us to this point with the Heat?
Well, Jared, I don't know when this started. It could have been as long ago as Wednesday's game against the Celtics. Remember, the Heat played the Celtics at American Airlines Arena on Wednesday. We found out later in the week about Jason Tatum and his positive test. The Heat then played Saturday night in Washington in a game you carried on NBA TV, and Bradley Beal was ruled out due to contact tracing, believed to be with contact with Jason Tatum. And then the Heat arrive on Sunday or late overnight Saturday to Boston, looking at the Celtics situation that they had all their protocol issues, thinking they would only have 8 people. This, I think, is a problem the league's going to have to look at its schedule to this degree. When you play back-to-back games and you are having constant and ongoing, as you should, testing, sometimes you don't get those results until very close to the game. We all saw a situation last week where all of a sudden Jonas Valanciunas is out for a second half of a game because that's when they find out a test result. So all of a sudden the Heat had a contact trace through their roster. We saw on the 1:30 injury report, Avery Bradley was listed as out for tonight's game, the former Celtics guard, because of league protocols. Didn't say specifically COVID-related or not. And now, as you know, the NBA players are wearing these contact tracing bands so they can see, okay, who spent the 15 minutes within 6 feet next to this player, player A, player B, whoever it might be. And, Jared, I think it's really, really hard on back-to-back games, as the Wizards learned yesterday with Bradley Beal, to get this done in such a quick turnaround. Yesterday in Washington, Bradley Beal was warming up before the game, expecting to play. Scott Brooks, when he spoke 90 minutes before the game, told us Bradley Beal was in the starting lineup. And then, boom, that happened. I think the toughest thing for the NBA going forward are going to be these back-to-back games.